Hi everyone. I recently found out about a case involving Jehovah's Witnesses and sexual abuse. And this occurred in Montana at the Thompson Falls congregation. And I actually hadn't heard about this. I think there are a lot of news articles about it. The court case occurred at the end of 2018. And basically, in this case, a Jehovah's Witness sexually assaults 3 children between, I think it was 1994 and 2004, 2007. And then as adults, they came forward. And he raped at least two of the children. And the reason why I'm making this video, for those of you who don't know, a few years ago I went to the convention and I spoke to the Jehovah's Witnesses in line at the convention about the Australian Royal Commission and the findings that the commission had, and you can find that video in the link below. And so this has been something that I've been talking about for years, and people have been talking about this before even the Australian Royal Commission, that Jehovah's Witnesses, and because of their 2-witness policy, they do not talk about or call the police. They do not call the police when a child gets sexually assaulted or raped. Their main concern is handling it internally, and they're told to call the legal department if they suspect that one of their members is doing this type of crime and sin. And so in this case, the whole case is about how the Watchtower and the Christian congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses and the Thompson Falls congregation, they're being sued for negligence. And what ended up happening was the Watchtower has to pay out, I believe, $31 million and then $4 million as a compensate. And this is like the largest amount in Montana history that an organization has to pay out. And so basically, the elders at the congregation, they were aware of this happening. And between this period of time, 1994 to 2004, 2007, they had the opportunity to take this to the police. They had 2 witnesses. That's their rule, that they cannot go to the police unless there are 2 witnesses for this sexual crime. And, you know, that's nonsense. It makes no sense, because why in the world would somebody confess and then, you know, then they have the child too? There's never 2 witnesses to a sexual crime that are willing to come forward, who are willing to come forward and say, yes, this occurred. However, in this case, the Jehovah's Witness actually confessed to this sin. He admitted what he did. He was disfellowshipped, then he was reinstated a year later. And throughout this history, this time period, the elders had the opportunity to go to the police, and yet they did not even follow their own sick 2-witness policy rule. They did not do that. And so what we learned from this organization is that they will find any loophole they can. And you will see this if you look this case up and you read through the court documents and you read the legal defense. It's like they find any way for justice to not be established. Now keep in mind, this organization says that it is God's organization on earth today, that it's the only channel on earth today communicating God's truth. Okay, all the other organizations are false. All the other organizations are going to be destroyed at Armageddon. Yet this organization here today Watchtower Bible and Tract Society claims to be God's mouthpiece. That's a serious claim. And yet, what do we see from God's mouthpiece? We see, that's quotations, we see child sexual abuse run rampant, and then them trying to escape justice and defend the sick actions of an organization covering up a man raping children. And so if you're a Jehovah's Witness watching this, I really want to challenge you on this point, that do you believe that this is God's organization on earth today that is covering up these sins? Think about this for a second. If you're a Jehovah's Witness watching this, you're part of an organization that constantly points to people who give presents once a year because it's their birthday, and say how evil that is. And then on the 25th day of December, people put up like tinsel and ornaments on a tree, and that's so evil. You know, they're not worshiping their tree, they're decorating their tree, they're exchanging presents, and it's happy and it's joyful. You know, Jehovah's Witnesses point to this to show how evil everyone is, yet their organization is covering up the most heinous sin there is, in my opinion. Raping a child, you know, that is so evil. Beyond exchanging presents once a year. And so the point of this video is that the Jehovah's Witnesses did not even follow their two-witness policy, and they were found to be guilty of neglecting to do something about this man who harmed these children. And so my challenge to Jehovah's Witnesses is that if this is really God's organization, why do you see these type of crimes? You know, in order to be consistent, you want to point the finger at all of these, at Christendom, but yet you don't want to look internally at your organization. That's hypocritical right there, and you're being inconsistent, and you need to apply the same standard you apply to other organizations as you do to yours. Furthermore, I believe God does not have a physical organization as the Jehovah's Witnesses describe. This is not a theme throughout Scripture, that the theme was to come to Christ, the Messiah, and salvation is offered to all. There is one hope for all, and that's through Jesus, and it's a personal relationship with Him. And so that's why if I'm part of an organization that is doing evil things, I can take a step back and say something about it, verbally and vocally. And so I think that's all I had for today. I was just so heartbroken when I read through this article, and then how sick it is to see the great lengths this organization, God's channel on earth today, goes to justify this heinous crime, to justify their actions. And so I'll put the links below for this court case, and I hope you're having a great day. I know this is pretty heavy, but this is important to expose and to continue to talk about. You know, a lot of people are not aware of this. They don't know this type of information. And so I think it's important to continue talking about it. I've been trying to talk about it for years, and here we see an opportunity that happened, and justice happened, and so that is a start, and hopefully that will be an example to other organizations to bring sin into the light when it's occurring, and to call the authorities, and not New York. So I hope that's all, and I hope you have a great day.
It's gonna be alright.